Hello and welcome back to Scoop with Coop. I'm of course Coop, and in sports, there are no two words better than Game 7, and that is exactly what we are going to get because of what the Spurs just did tonight. At home, must-win game to force it to go to Game 7, and in a Game 7, who knows what can happen, right? So this is a crucial game. Win, and your season continues. Lose, you're done. And with their back up against the wall, they are able to fight and claw a dominant win over the Oklahoma City Thunder, with the Spurs coming out on top 118-91. And when I think about the most important things about this game and what really caught my attention, the first thing was Victor Wembanyama went out at the start of the game firing, right? He was aggressive. He was getting into the paint. The other thing that he did that was very, very nice that I saw him do was he made his first 2 3-pointers. And what makes that so significant is once you start making your 3-point shots, teams respect you a lot more, right? They're going to attack you harder on the closeout. And if that's the case, if you go for a pump fake, like what happened in this game where Wembanyama went for a pump fake, got Hartenstein all the way off of his feet, allowed him to get to the basket, and laid up for an easy 2, right? Teams will have to respect you more once you make those first 2. And once he made those, as well as the fashion in which he made them, it was just like, okay, all right, so we're going to be in for a nice Victor Wembanyama game. He did taper off a little bit after that, only shooting, because he started it off 2 for 3 because he missed the next one he took. So he only went 2 for 6 after that, which isn't terrible, but not fantastic. So Wembanyama was aggressive right out of the gate. Another thing that was very prominent and very easy to notice in this game for the San Antonio Spurs was the bench stepped up. The bench and the role players stepped up massively, right? Dylan Harper, game changer. Absolute game changer. Comes off the bench, right? Has struggled a little bit ever since his first 2 games where he was really fantastic because of him acquiring the injury he got in game 2. Well, he put everyone on notice that he is back because in 22 minutes, he had 18 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists, right? He was fantastic. He was phenomenal. Devin Vassell seemed like he couldn't miss a 3-pointer, which it says here that he missed 3. That doesn't seem true. Everyone knows he didn't shoot 4 for 7. He shot 4 for 4, right? He was on fire from 3. He really stepped up after having a down game in game 6 or in game 5. Champagny continued over with his resurgence in game 5. Started off, made a couple of threes here early on, tapered off a little bit, but he was phenomenal defensively. He had a great couple of blocks and a steal on top of that. He was fantastic in his role. Stephon Castle, I mean, he's been phenomenal, right? 2 offensive rebounds, ended up with 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 9 assists, right? Now, I'm not mentioning one player from that starting lineup, and that player is De'Aaron Fox. He's the only player for the Spurs team where I feel like he did not play a good game. That's a little bit worrying. It's definitely troublesome because going into a game 7, right? Who knows what can happen? But each team is the Spurs and Thunder have played each other 10 times now. So I mean, I'm sure they know each other about as well as you're going to know a team. And you want De'Aaron Fox to play much better than this. I mean, I know he had a plus 17 plus minus, so I mean, technically he was a positive, but 1 for 9 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3. He was a good passer and playmaker, which at least you're providing some impact on the game, even whenever your shot's not falling. But he missed a couple of very easy shots. He had one where it was just right at the rim, too strong, one right at the rim, too short. I mean, it's just trying to find that equilibrium where he was just off all night. He made one of the shots, but I mean, that one, okay. I mean, he made 3 of his 4 free throws, and yeah, I mean, I guess that's cool. And sticking with the whole free throw point, after game 5, Um, I was very unhappy with the officiating, right? That's actually one of my most viewed videos that I've ever posted. Um, is about me ranting about how I was not a fan of how Game 5 in particular, as well as Game 2 was officiated, or how Game 3 was officiated. How I was not a fan of some of the officiating calls here tonight. And I think this may have been a little bit of an overcorrection, where you get the free throw totals of 25 for the Spurs and a total of 12 for the Thunder. Now, I do think part of that relies on the fact that the amount of times that they were driving into the paint, right? The Spurs team, they were getting a lot of contact. They were putting themselves in position to draw contact, although I do think there were a couple of missed calls on both sides, like for particular for the Thunder, right? I mean, there are many of them. Mainly whenever Chet Holmgren was in the paint, he was getting hacked a lot. Um, SGA didn't get to the free throw line a ton. I feel like the Spurs defended him very well. They didn't give him any possible avenue to draw fouls, right? And I mean, I think that was a key cog of them winning this game. They just didn't foul as much. Period. 21 fouls by the Thunder, 14 for the Spurs, right? And that's including one foul where technically Chet Holmgren's in the air, and on the broadcast, Jamal Crawford's like, that's a weak call. I don't agree with it. I personally do agree with it. But the fact that you're having those calls, that it's dependent on the person who's viewing it to dictate whether or not that's a fair call or not. And then there was also another call that I feel like was very interesting, was the Carter Bryant call, where I don't think that was a flagrant, simply because of the way that SGA isn't like fully squared to the rim, right? So SGA is on the block on the left-hand side if you're looking at it from the half-court line, right? From the logo. So he is not straight, like perpendicular to the basket. He is leaning, right? He's leaning. His body isn't straight at a 90-degree angle with the basket. Bryant, he's trying to go for, like, to get a good box out. He comes in, he drops the shoulder, and SGA looks back and magically just jumps over, right? Carter Bryant doesn't extend the arm. He was already moving full speed, right? So he just straight up, I mean, it was a linebacker play. I mean, he has this going. And the reason I don't think that's a foul call is, number one, you see SGA look back, proportionately move his body to initiate the contact. And also, when Carter Bryant started to make that run to get up with SGA, SGA is facing this way. Carter Bryant is leaning to go cut him off at the point of the rebound, right? He's going to get him off of the spot. So it's not particularly as though he's just elbowed Shea in the back. He's trying to kill him. Like, no, I don't think that's what happened. Was it a bad look? Absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. It is a borderline call, right? There were a couple of times that I had to get reviewed. I mean, I do think that in this game, it was officiated a lot more fairly, at least, and it seems like the officiating for contact was a lot more fair with the amount of contact that they were giving out and receiving in terms of both the Thunder and the Spurs. Is the Thunder were being very physical, right? Extremely physical. Nothing surprising. I mean, Jalen Williams, he was being a pest. Isaiah Hartenstein, I mean, he's going to pick up his 3 fouls any which way he can. And the Spurs team, you would think after losing the way they did in Game 5, you're either going to see a fired up, pumped up, jazzed up team. You're going to see a flat, slow, oh, come on, woe is me type team. And you got the first option there. You had a team that was on fire. Like, it looked as though you put them on a tightrope, and if they fall, they're going into a pit of crocodiles. Like, they were focused. They were locked in. They knew the task at hand, and they executed on that perfectly. This Spurs team, they played phenomenal basketball, right? A lot of instances, you would see great ball movement. And whenever that type of thing happens defensively, you're going to have a lapse in communication and a lapse in judgment. right? So able to attack mismatches, as well as Victor Wembanyama. I feel like they used him as a passing hub big from the top of the key very well, where you allow him to get a little bit of a head of steam to where it's not as easy to stop him. Because if he's just one up on, like if he's just straight, like right in front of you, just do this. I mean, straight up, like he's not. I mean, he can spin off you, but if that's the case, just move with him. But getting him in motion and getting him in movement makes it harder to stop him when he's running to the basket. And that showed where he took a lot more shots at the basket, came out a lot more aggressive, as well as freed up space for his other teammates to elevate. And that's key because this whole series, I've been saying, the Spurs have the better starting lineup. It comes down to the bench depth. And the Spurs were the deeper team, and their starters were better. That's how they got the win so easily, right? For the Thunder, looking at this, right, their shots just weren't falling. They went 7 minutes in game without making a basket. It was over 15 shots that they went without making a basket, right? SGA, he has not played well. He has had one game that has been anywhere near his efficiency in the regular season. Now, I know efficiency drops in the playoffs, but still, 38% from the field, 26% from three. The only thing that he's doing tremendously well outside of being a good passer is free throw shooting. That's it. And I'm a little bit nervous about going into a game 7. This Spurs team at points just plays like they want it more, right? That's usually been the tell. That the Thunder have more talent, the Spurs are hungrier, right? That's been the tell between these two teams, or at least that's been my discernible qualities and traits that I've seen from this. And if SGA isn't making his shots, you need other people to step up, right? Chet Holmgren, once again, passive, passive, passive. He wasn't as bad as he's been in this series, which, you know what? Cool. Good for you. Only, again, 8 shots. I mean, this guy went from round before averaging 20 points. This round, 12. 3-point shooting. Series before, you were averaging 38.5. Series before that, 38.9. Right? If you were to take a guess what he's shooting, it would be, well, I've talked about him negatively, so we'll say 35, 34. Nope. He's shooting 27% from the 3-point line. Chet Holmgren needs to be aggressive, right? I think that when he is aggressive, it makes things very difficult for Victor Wembanyama. You also factor in Lou Dort. He kind of shot himself out of the gym. He shot this team out of the gym as he shot 2 for 11. Yikes. Jared McCain wasn't much better. 4 for 11. Yikes. Like this Thunder team, they didn't shoot well. Just flat out. Do I think that happens 2 games in a row? I mean, I don't think that'll happen. But also, who knows what happens in a game 7. And if I have to bet, which I'm not a betting man, but if I were to, I would put more faith in Victor Wembanyama being as aggressive as possible and looking to take this game over. I would have more faith in that happening than, oh, well, the Thunder bench just shoot 50% from 3 and they win it. Right? I don't have so much faith in that happening. I don't believe that'll be the case, or at least I don't believe it's as likely to happen. Now, I'm not saying that this Thunder team isn't good. They are phenomenal, right? In a game 7 at home, historically, they are really good in game 7s. They are really, really, really good in game 7s over the last 3 years, as they've won, I believe, 3 game 7s over the past couple years. Because you have the finals, you have the Denver series, and then you have that Minnesota series a couple years ago, right? So you have those. You have that. They have more experience, and that tends to matter a lot more in game 7s. And I think that if you're going to look for anything to look for in how these two teams approach each other, the Thunder are going to be a lot more disciplined, right? At points, depending on the officiating crew, the Thunder aren't going to be acquiring as many stupid fouls. Just calling it what it is. The Thunder, if they play their brand of basketball, if they're able to get out in transition, play fast, and they're able to wear down Wemby, they should win this game. They should win the game 7 easily, right? But they tried doing that in game 6 and it failed miserably. So I mean, it's going to be the last adjustment, right? Who makes the final adjustment and if it works or doesn't work? And one of the big adjustments that's been seen in this series is bringing in Kenrich Williams, right? Williams did not shoot well, 2 for 8, right? You're seeing a lot more of the Thunder bench depth being utilized. I am okay with that decision when they make their shots. When they don't, I prefer you just put the ball in the hands of SGA, even though his shot isn't falling as well as you'd like it to. I simply think he's that good of a ball player that I don't care. And that goes with Victor Wembanyama. I don't care how his shot is going. Like, I don't care if he's making or missing. Get him more touches. It's very similar to whenever you have like a running back who he's not, he's getting maybe 3-4 yards a carry, right? You got to keep giving him touches because inevitably he's going to break one free. That's exactly how I feel about Shea. He's going to have a good game, I think. Because at the end of the day, all of this is me speculating, right? I have no idea how this game 7 is going to go. But I do know one thing for certain. I am absolutely thrilled that we get another game of this, right? Because if this game is any indication, right, I know the Thunder are mad. I know the Thunder are livid. And I can tell you with 100% certainty that they are not going to be embarrassed on their home court. They are going to make sure that it is a contest. But I also know, looking across from them, is not a human, is not anything from this planet. And the Thunder can only affect things on this world. But the one thing it cannot affect is the alien who wears number 1. Ooh, that was tough. No, I'm just kidding. Realistically, though, I think this Thunder team, they have the tools to match up with the Spurs in Game 7. It's at home, and they're tremendous at home. For the Spurs, they need to execute perfectly, and they've done that 3 times already, so who's to say it can't happen one more time? But I do know, again, I know one thing for certain, right? I'm absolutely thrilled and elated that we get another chapter of this absolute clash of titans, and I know I, for one, will 100% be spectating every minute of this masterpiece. Let me know who you got in Game 7, Spurs or Thunder, right? I've listed out how I could view this series going. I don't want to make a pick because I don't want to make it seem like I'm being biased towards any team. I want to be as objective as possible with this. But this is the Scoop with Coop. Make sure to go ahead and like, subscribe. It's absolutely crucial for the channel. Once again, let me know who you got, Spurs or Thunder. And as I've already mentioned, this is the Scoop with Coop. I'm of course Coop. And until next time, so long everybody.